The judge's eyes were cold. Judge Alone Prescott had been on the family court bench for 30 years. She had seen every kind of dispute, every kind of lie, every kind of desperation that parents could bring into her courtroom. And right now she was looking at me like I was the worst of them all. "Mr. Stratton," she said, her voice cutting through the tense silence, "these are extremely serious allegations." Beside me, my lawyer, Thaddeus Wren, sat motionless. He knew what was coming. We had prepared for this moment, for this exact moment. But that didn't make it any easier to hear. "Your wife has testified under oath that you have physically abused her throughout your marriage. She has presented photographic evidence of injuries. She has testified that you have also physically abused your 7-year-old son, Nan." I didn't move, didn't react. Every muscle in my body was screaming at me to stand up, to shout, to tell the judge that every word my wife had said was a lie. But I stayed still. Because I knew something the judge didn't know. I knew something my wife didn't know I knew. "If what she is saying is true," Judge Prescott paused, let the weight of the moment settle over the courtroom like a shroud, "you will never see your child again." Across the aisle, Cordelia nodded confidently beside her lawyer. She was wearing a conservative dress, minimal makeup, the picture of a traumatized mother finally finding the courage to speak her truth. Her eyes were red from crying, tears she had shed during her testimony, describing in vivid detail the abuse she had allegedly suffered at my hands. She glanced at me just for a moment, and in that moment I saw it, the flash of triumph behind the mask of victimhood, the cold satisfaction of a woman who believed she had won. She had been planning this for months, maybe years. She had rehearsed every word, manufactured every piece of evidence, coordinated with her attorney lover to ensure that I would lose everything: my son, my home, my reputation. And she had almost succeeded. Almost. "Mr. Stratton," Judge Prescott continued, "what do you have to say in response to these allegations?" I closed my eyes for a second, took a breath, then opened them and spoke. "Your Honor, if I may, can we play the video now?" The reaction was immediate. Cordelia's lawyer, Sienna Blackmore, shot to her feet. "Objection! What video? This wasn't disclosed in discovery." "It was disclosed this morning, Your Honor." Thaddeus's voice was calm, measured. "Emergency evidence obtained last night. We filed the notice at 7:42 a.m. per court rules." Judge Prescott looked between the two lawyers, her expression unreadable. "Miss Blackmore, were you notified of this evidence?" Sienna's face tightened. "We received a notification, but we haven't had time to review." "The video is 3 minutes long," Thaddeus said. "The court can determine its relevance directly." The judge considered for a moment, then she nodded. "I'll allow it. Mr. Stratton, play the video." I pulled out my phone, connected it to the courtroom's display system, and pressed play. The screens around the courtroom flickered to life. The timestamp read 11:47 p.m., the previous night. The living room of my house, the house where Cordelia had lived with me for 10 years, where we had raised our son together, where she had plotted my destruction while believing I was asleep upstairs. The first thing that appeared on screen was Cordelia. She was sitting on the couch, phone on speaker, talking to someone. Her voice was clear, calm, completely different from the trembling victim she had portrayed in court just minutes ago. "Gideon, it's happening tomorrow. Everything is ready." 5 seconds in, Cordelia screamed, "Turn that off!" She was on her feet, lunging toward the screens, her carefully constructed facade crumbling in real time. The bailiff moved to intercept her, and Sienna Blackmore grabbed her arm, trying to pull her back. "Turn it off. He can't. You can't." I leaned back in my chair and looked at her. "No," I said quietly. "Let them see what you did last night when you thought I was asleep." The video kept playing. "Did you do the bruises?" Gideon's voice came through the speaker. "I'm doing them now. Watch this." Cordelia walked off camera for a moment, then returned carrying a professional makeup kit. She sat down in full view of the camera, a camera she didn't know existed, and opened the kit with practiced familiarity. Inside were various bottles, brushes, sponges, the kind of materials used by special effects artists to create realistic injuries. She selected a bottle of purple-red pigment and began applying it to her forearm. "These will photograph perfectly," she said, working with careful precision. "The judge will see them and lose her mind." The courtroom was silent except for Cordelia's recorded voice. Every eye was fixed on the screen, watching as this woman, this mother who had just tearfully testified about years of abuse, methodically painted bruises onto her own skin. "What about the kid?" Gideon asked. Cordelia didn't hesitate. "I'll say Hollis hits him too. Nan is only 7. He'll say whatever I tell him to say." I heard someone in the gallery gasp. "And if Hollis fights back with what?" Cordelia laughed. A cold, cruel sound that bore no resemblance to the warm laughter I remembered from the early years of our marriage. "He has nothing. He's so trusting, so stupid. He's probably asleep right now, dreaming about how to save our marriage." She finished applying the bruise to her arm and started on her face, dabbing color onto her cheek with the careful attention of an artist. "By this time tomorrow I'll have full custody, half his assets, and child support for the next 11 years. She paused, examining her work in a hand mirror. And the best part, she looked up directly at the camera, though she didn't know it was there. "Hollis actually loves that boy. Taking Nan away from him will destroy him completely." A beat. And that's exactly what he deserves. The video ended. The courtroom was silent. Judge Prescott sat motionless for a long moment. I watched her face, the shock giving way to something harder, colder. 30 years on the bench. In 30 years, she had probably seen a lot of lies. But she had never seen anything like this. Cordelia was sobbing now, real sobs, not the theatrical tears she had performed during her testimony. She was slumped in her chair, Sienna Blackmore beside her, looking shell-shocked. "Mrs. Stratton," the judge's voice was ice. "Mrs. Stratton, look at me." Cordelia raised her head. Mascara streaked her cheeks. The carefully applied bruise on her face was visible under the harsh courtroom lights. Visible and now obviously fake to anyone who looked closely. "What I have just witnessed," Judge Prescott said slowly, "is perjury, fraud, the manufacturing of false evidence, and perhaps most disturbing of all, the willingness to use a 7-year-old child as a weapon against his own father. Your Honor, I can explain." "You will not speak." Cordelia's mouth snapped shut. "You came into my courtroom this morning and you lied under oath. You presented fabricated evidence. You made accusations that, if believed, would have destroyed an innocent man and separated him from his child forever." The judge's voice was rising now, 30 years of professionalism barely containing her fury. "And you did it with a smile on your face." She turned to Sienna Blackmore. "Counselor, were you aware of your client's activities?" Sienna's face was pale. "Your Honor, I had no knowledge." "We'll see. The State Bar will be investigating this matter thoroughly." She turned back to the courtroom at large. "Mrs. Stratton's testimony is stricken from the record. Her accusations are dismissed in their entirety. Her petition for custody is denied." Cordelia let out a wail. "No, you can't. He's my son." "He is also his father's son. A father you tried to eliminate through lies and manipulation." Judge Prescott's gaze swung to me. "Mr. Stratton." "Yes, Your Honor. You will have full custody of your son, Nan. Your wife will have supervised visitation at your discretion, and only at your discretion. Given the nature of her actions, I see no reason to trust her with unsupervised access to the child." "Thank you, Your Honor." "Don't thank me. Thank whatever instinct led you to install that camera." She gathered her papers. "Furthermore, I am referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for criminal prosecution. Perjury, filing false reports, fraud, child endangerment." Cordelia screamed. Not a word, not a coherent sound. It was pure, primal rage, the sound of a woman watching everything she had planned crumble to dust. "Bailiff, please escort Mrs. Stratton from my courtroom and contact the DA's office. They'll want to speak with her before she leaves the building." 2 bailiffs moved toward Cordelia. She tried to run, actually tried to bolt for the door, but they caught her before she made it 3 steps. "You can't do this. He's lying. The video is fake." "Mrs. Stratton, the video is time-stamped, geotagged, and has already been authenticated by a digital forensics expert." Judge Prescott didn't even look at her. "Your lies are over." The gavel came down. My wife was dragged from the courtroom screaming all the way. Let me tell you how I got here. My name is Hollis Stratton. I'm 44 years old, a financial analyst, a father who almost lost everything because the woman I married turned out to be someone I never really knew. I met Cordelia in 2013. She was working at a marketing firm that handled some of my company's accounts. 28 years old, beautiful, charming, the kind of woman who made you feel like the most important person in the room whenever she looked at you. I was 33, successful, but lonely. I had spent my 20s building my career, and somewhere along the way I had forgotten to build a life. Cordelia seemed like the answer to every question I'd been afraid to ask. We dated for a year. She was attentive, supportive, interested in everything about me. She came to my sister Layton's birthday party and won over my whole family. She visited my mother Odette in the hospital when she had her hip surgery. She did everything right. In 2014, we got married. A small ceremony, close friends and family. A honeymoon where we walked through ancient streets and talked about the children we would have someday. Nan was born in 2017, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. I was in the delivery room when he took his first breath, and I felt something shift inside me. Something permanent, irreversible. This was my son, my purpose, the reason everything else had happened. For the first few years we were happy, or at least I thought we were happy. Looking back now, I can see the signs I missed. The way Cordelia's attention wandered during our conversations. The slight edge of impatience in her voice when I talked about work. The credit card bills that grew larger every month. But I was busy, distracted, too focused on providing for my family to notice that my family was quietly falling apart. The real trouble started in 2021. His name was Gideon Harlow, attorney, family law specifically. He knew exactly how custody battles worked, exactly how domestic abuse allegations could devastate a father's case, exactly how to manufacture a narrative that would destroy me in court. And Cordelia was eager to learn. I found out later, from records obtained during the criminal investigation, that they had been planning this for over a year. Gideon coached her on what to say, what evidence to create, how to play the victim convincingly. He even connected her with Sienna Blackmore, a lawyer known for aggressive tactics in high-conflict divorces. They were building a machine designed to crush me, and I had no idea it was coming. The first sign was the makeup kit. I found it in the back of Cordelia's closet, hidden behind a row of shoeboxes. Professional-grade theatrical makeup, the kind used in movies to create realistic injuries. Bruise colors, scar materials, application guides. Why would my wife have a professional makeup kit for creating fake injuries? The question haunted me. I couldn't ask her directly, couldn't reveal that I had been looking through her things. But I couldn't let it go either. I started paying attention in ways I hadn't before. The way she rehearsed conversations in the bathroom mirror when she thought I was in the garage. The way her phone was always face down on the table. The way she flinched, actually flinched, when I walked into a room unexpectedly. She was hiding something big. In February, I installed the cameras, 3 of them, all in common areas of the house, living room, kitchen, home office. All legal in my state, all on my own property. I didn't tell Cordelia because I didn't know what I would find, and I didn't want her to hide it better. For 3 weeks, I checked the footage daily, nothing unusual. Cordelia going about her routine, making phone calls, working on her laptop. Normal life. I started to doubt myself. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe the makeup kit was for some innocent purpose I didn't understand. Then came March 14th, the night before the custody hearing. I told Cordelia I was going to bed early. "Big day tomorrow," I said, yawning theatrically. "I need to rest." She smiled. That perfect, practiced smile that I now recognized as her performance face. "Of course, honey. I'll be up soon, just have some work to finish." I went upstairs, closed the bedroom door, turned off the lights. Then I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. At 11:47 p.m., she made a call. "Gideon, it's happening tomorrow. Everything is ready." My blood ran cold. For the next 20 minutes, I watched my wife plan my destruction. I watched her apply fake bruises to her skin with the practiced ease of someone who had done it before. I watched her discuss how to use our 7-year-old son as a weapon against me. I watched her laugh about how trusting and stupid I was, and I recorded everything. When she finally went to bed at 12:30, I was still awake, staring at my phone. She lay down next to me in the darkness. Within minutes, she was asleep. The peaceful sleep of someone confident in their victory. I didn't sleep at all. By morning, I had sent the footage to Thaddeus, consulted with a digital forensics expert to authenticate it, and filed the emergency evidence notice with the court. Now it was time to let Cordelia spring her own trap. The morning of the hearing, Cordelia was radiant. She moved through the house with barely contained excitement, choosing her outfit carefully, practicing her concerned mother expressions in the mirror. She had no idea I had seen everything, no idea that the performance she was about to give had already been exposed. "Are you nervous?" she asked me over breakfast, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "A little. Don't worry, no matter what happens, I just want what's best for Nan." The lie slid off her tongue so easily. "I know," I said. "I want that too." We drove to the courthouse separately. My sister Leighton was already in the gallery when I arrived, sitting with my mother Odette. They smiled at me encouragingly, unaware of what was about to happen. The hearing began at 9 a.m. Cordelia testified first. She was magnificent, if you didn't know she was lying. The tears that rolled down her cheeks looked absolutely real. Her voice trembled at all the right moments. She painted a picture of a marriage marked by fear and control, a husband who terrorized her behind closed doors, a mother desperately trying to protect her child. The photographs of her bruises were entered into evidence. They looked convincing, professionally applied, perfectly positioned to suggest assault. By 10:15, Sienna Blackmore was arguing for full custody with supervised visitation only, confident, aggressive, smelling blood in the water. By 10:30, Judge Prescott was looking at me like I was a monster. And then came her ultimatum. "If what she is saying is true, you will never see your child again." Cordelia nodded confidently, and I said the words that would change everything. "Your Honor, can we play the video now?" The aftermath was chaos. Cordelia was arrested before she left the building. The DA's office moved fast. She was charged with perjury, fraud, filing false reports, and child endangerment. Gideon Harlow was arrested 2 days later. The Bar Association moved to disbar him even before the criminal charges were filed. His wife, who had suspected his infidelity for years but never had proof, filed for divorce the same week. Sienna Blackmore wasn't charged criminally, but her career was effectively over. The Bar investigation revealed that she had known about Cordelia's plan to fabricate evidence and had coached her on how to present it convincingly. She was disbarred within 6 months. The trial happened in the fall. I attended every day, sitting in the gallery with Leighton and my mother, watching as the prosecution laid out its case. The video was played again and again. Cordelia's calm voice, her confident laughter, her casual discussion of destroying my life and using our son as a weapon. The defense tried everything. They claimed the video was doctored. They claimed I had manipulated Cordelia into saying those things. None of it worked. Guilty on all counts. She was sentenced to 5 years. She cried when the verdict was read. But this time there was no sympathy in the courtroom. Everyone had seen what she was capable of. Everyone knew who she really was. Gideon received 7 years. He had done this before, it turned out. Other men, other lives he had helped destroy through fabricated accusations. The pattern was clear once investigators started looking. Explaining everything to Nan was the hardest part. He was 7 years old enough to understand that something bad had happened, too young to understand the full weight of it. I sat with him on his bed the night after the hearing. "Where's Mommy?" "Mommy did some things that were wrong," I said carefully, "and now she has to talk to some people about it." "Is she in trouble?" "Yes, buddy, she's in trouble." "Because of me?" The question broke my heart. A 7-year-old already wondering if he was somehow responsible for his mother's crimes. "No." I pulled him into my arms, held him tight. "Not because of you. Never because of you. Mommy made choices that had nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything wrong." "I miss her." I know you do." I didn't say what I was thinking, that his mother had been willing to use him as a weapon, to coach him into lying, to poison his relationship with me for her own gain. He would learn those things eventually, when he was old enough to understand. But not now. Now he just needed to know he was loved. "I'm always going to be here," I said. "No matter what happens, I will always be here for you." He clung to me in the darkness, this small person who depended on me completely, who trusted me with his whole heart. I would never betray that trust. Not ever. 2 years have passed since that day in court. I'm 46 now, still living in the same house, though I've redecorated most of it, erasing traces of Cordelia, making it feel like our space, mine and Nan's. We painted his room together last summer, choosing a bright blue that he said reminded him of the ocean. Nan is 9. He's in 3rd grade, loves dinosaurs, has recently become obsessed with building elaborate Lego structures that take over the living room for days at a time. He's a happy kid, happier now than he was during the last years of my marriage, when the tension in the house was thick enough to cut. He asks about his mother sometimes. I answer honestly, in age-appropriate ways. I tell him she made some mistakes and is paying the consequences. I tell him she still loves him even though she can't be with him right now. I don't tell him about the video, about what she was willing to do, about how close she came to taking him away from me forever. Someday, when he's older, he'll learn the truth. He'll see the video for himself. But that day is far away. And for now, I want to protect whatever good memories he has. My sister Leighton came over last month. We sat on the back porch watching Nan play with the dog, a golden retriever named Scout that we adopted last year. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. "Do you ever think about what would have happened?" Leighton asked, "if you hadn't had the video?" I had thought about it more times than I could count. "I would have lost everything," I said quietly. "My son, my home, my reputation. She would have destroyed me and I would have had no way to prove my innocence." "How did you know to install the cameras? What made you suspect?" "The makeup kit. I found it hidden in her closet. Professional theatrical makeup for creating fake injuries. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. I started noticing other things. The rehearsed conversations, the hidden phone, the way she flinched when I surprised her." "I can't believe I didn't see it." Leighton shook her head. "I thought she was wonderful. We all did. She was good at pretending. That's what people like her do. They perform. The person you saw wasn't the real Cordelia. It was a character she created to get what she wanted." We sat in silence for a moment, watching Scout chase Nan across the yard. "You saved him," Leighton said finally. "You know that, right? Not just your custody. You saved Nan from growing up with a mother who would have used him as a pawn for the rest of his life." I watched my son laugh as the dog licked his face. "I hope so," I said. "I hope he'll understand someday. I hope he'll know that everything I did was for him." "He will. When he's ready, he will." Last week, Nan asked me a question. We were eating dinner, spaghetti, his favorite, when he looked up from his plate with those serious eyes that sometimes made him seem much older than 9. "Dad, why did Mommy lie?" I set down my fork. "What do you mean, buddy?" "Aiden at school said his mom told him that my mom lied in court, that she said you hurt her but you didn't. Is that true?" I made a mental note to have a conversation with Aiden's mother about discussing adult matters in front of children. "Yes," I said finally, "it's true. Your mom told some lies about me to the judge." "Why?" The simplest question, the hardest to answer. "I don't know exactly," I admitted. "Sometimes people do things that hurt others because they're angry or scared, or because they want something they can't have. Your mom was very unhappy, and she thought that hurting me would make her feel better." "Did it?" "No, it didn't. Hurting people never makes you feel better. It just creates more hurt." Nan considered this for a moment. "I'm glad you didn't let her take me away." My throat tightened. "Me too, buddy. Me too." "I love you, Dad." "I love you too, more than anything in the world." He went back to his spaghetti, the heavy moment passing as quickly as it had come. But I sat there for a long time afterward, thinking about how close I had come to losing him. One video. That was all that had stood between us in destruction. One recording made because I trusted my instincts when everything seemed wrong. I would never stop being grateful for that instinct. Never. I want to ask you something before I go. What would you do if your spouse tried to take your child with false accusations, but you had video proof of them creating fake evidence? Would you reveal it in court in front of everyone or handle it privately? Have you ever had to wait for exactly the right moment to expose the truth? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, especially any parent who has ever feared losing their child to lies. Subscribe so you never miss another story. I'll see you in the next one.